Hadoop gives an organization is the agility to be able to ingest that data in its native form and then start to figure out what they want to do with it, to process through the data, to think through and pose a hypothesis to the data, and then rapidly determine whether or not that hypothesis has legs. As you look across the supply chain, you have this all the way from your consumption, to your shopping, to your purchasing, to your replenishment, to your manufacturing, to your raw materials. Each of those are different nodes along the way, and there's data that's being generated and collected at each of those. When you get out into the shopping and consuming portion of that, you also get to see post-consumer behavior. That tends to show up very heavily in the social media. You'll start to see trends as people are identifying things that they're interested in doing, how they're reacting to environmental conditions. So all those become this sort of framework in this environment about understanding how the end consumer is engaging with the channel, and very importantly, how the end consumer is engaging with the brand.
Kind of who else within a CPG company would be working with this data and surfacing some of these things?
So your finance, your sales organizations, your category management organizations, supply chain, replenishment. As you look across the spectrum of all the various divisions within manufacturing, each and every one of them is touched by these demand shifts that are occurring. And none of these exist in a vacuum. They're all interrelated. And what are some of the external factors that are driving this outside of direct demand generation satisfaction?
So you brought up the fact that CPG has been driven through traditionally some transactional data, right? So it's transactions around orders coming in and orders being fulfilled, but what's sort of augmenting that now are data that's not transactional in many ways, right? So it's brand awareness type stuff, it's social media, it's weather. Given the infrastructure that they historically would have had for this sort of transactional data, how Cloudera, how Trifacta are playing into these new sources of data that are much larger in size and scope in many cases, certainly with social media.
So you have this incredible hodgepodge of different data sources coming at you at different frequencies, different definitions, and things that the business are trying to innovate with. So they're testing things. What happens if I bring in macroeconomic data like fuel prices, and does that correlate with activity that I'm seeing within this? Huge variety around that, and the business doesn't know how to give those requirements in a standard IT way. Like, I can't define for you all the business outcomes because I've never even seen the data before. What do I want to do with it? I don't know. Let me see, let me explore, let me get into the data. What I think was awesome about what Trifacta brings to this picture is incorporating that back into the solutions. Then this becomes a real wrangling problem for them to be able to solve it that way.